Welcome, little dreamers. Come close, snuggle in, and let your mind drift like a leaf on a quiet stream. You're about to journey through a world of wonder where princesses sleep beneath blooming thorns, foxes dance by lantern light, mermaids dream beneath starlit waves, and kindness is the most magical power of all. These are not just stories. They are soft whispers from faraway lands told gently to help you feel safe, calm, and ready for sleep. So close your eyes, take a slow, deep breath, let the night wrap around you like a warm blanket, and step softly into a world where anything is possible. Because tonight, the stories are just for you. Story 31, The Lantern Tree of the Forgotten Orchard, Story 31 of the Bedtime Fairy Tales collection, inspired by Eastern European orchard lore, dream guardians, and forest legends. Hey, little dreamers, tonight we're going somewhere magical. You walk through the edge of a sleeping forest where leaves rustle like secrets and shadows stretch long and slow. There is no map in your hand, no path on the ground, but your feet know where to go. The air smells of ripe apples, warm moss, and something older than time. You follow the scent. You pass under trees twisted with memory trunks wide as doorways, their bark cracked with laughter and lullabies. And then you see it, a wooden gate, crooked, carved with symbols you almost recognize. You push it open, and the orchard begins. Not rows of neat trees, a wild maze of branches and color. Every tree is different, some tall and thin, others short and blooming with impossible fruit, pears that glow, blue plums that hum, apples soft as velvet and cold as snow. You pass a peach tree that smells like your favorite dream. You pick nothing, not yet, because up ahead something is glowing. A tree taller than the rest stands in the middle of the orchard. Its bark is silver gray, its leaves shimmer green by day, gold by night, and hanging from its branches are lanterns, hundreds of them, each shaped differently, some round like moons, others sharp like stars, some long and soft as candlelight. You step closer. A voice greets you. You found the lantern tree. You turn. A woman stands beside you. Her eyes are dark as soil, her cloak stitched with falling leaves. She carries a basket not of fruit, but of flickering lights. Who are you? You ask. She smiles. I'm the orchard keeper. I gather the dreams that fall from this tree. They ripen at dusk and glow until dawn. Each lantern holds a story, a memory, a wish, some old, some new, some forgotten. She reaches up and touches one. It flickers. This one, she says, belongs to a child who wished to fly across the sea. She hands it to you. It is warm. It smells like salt wind and seagulls. You peer inside. You see it, a dream unfolding. A boat made of feathers. A sky painted with tides. A small hand waving from the clouds. The orchard keeper takes it back and places it gently in her basket. What happens to them? You ask. They return to the dreamers, she says. Each one floats back in the night. It finds the child who needs it. But some stay here. Some are lost. She leads you deeper into the orchard. You see trees with roots tangled around stories that never finished, lanterns that dim and brighten with breath, and at their center, a hollow stump filled with unlit lights. These, she says, are waiting for someone to remember them. She hands you a tiny lantern. Would you like to try? You nod. You close your eyes and think of the first dream you ever had, the one you barely remember. A field of snow where the stars could be picked like flowers. A melody only heard while spinning. A door that opened to nowhere, and that was okay. The lantern glows soft, pale, true. The orchard keeper smiles. You've brought it back. She places it gently on a branch, and for a moment all the other lanterns shimmer in response. The tree hums, a sound between wind and memory. You sit beneath it and listen. The orchard tells you stories, not loud ones, just flickers. A child dancing on tiptoes in the rain, a kite that never came down, a whispered wish to stay small a little longer. You watch them. Some lanterns blink slowly, some spin, some vanish, drifting into the sky. It means they found their dreamer, the orchard keeper says. She hands you one last lantern. This one is yours. Inside it, you see yourself, walking the orchard, listening to the hush, being part of the story. Will I come back? You ask. She tucks the lantern into your hands. You never really left. The trees bend gently around you. You feel warm. The orchard fades. And when you open your eyes, you are back in your bed. Your pillow is soft. Your breath is slow. And by your bedside sits a tiny lantern, flickering, remembering, waiting. Story 32. The library beneath the lake. Inspired by legends of hidden knowledge, still waters, and forgotten memories. Hey, little dreamer, tonight we're going somewhere magical. The lake gets still, not frozen, not asleep, just listening. You stand on the wooden dock with your toes curled around the edge. The water below you doesn't ripple, not even when the wind sighs through the reeds. It holds the sky like a secret stars blinking back at themselves. Beside you stands an old woman in a wool cloak. Her hair is silver, her eyes the color of driftwood. She says nothing, just points to the water with a smile that feels like a memory. You don't speak either. You just step forward. And instead of falling, you float. The surface parts for you like soft silk, and you sink slowly, gently, as if the lake has always been waiting for your arrival. There is no splash, no cold, no fear, just silence like the quiet at the end of a song. Beneath the surface you drift downward. The moonlight fades, replaced by a soft golden glow like candlelight behind thick glass. Shapes form around you, shelves, arches, lanterns that hover without strings. And then you see it, a library, not of wood and brick, but carved into the lake bed itself, grown from coral and stone with windows made of pearl. Books float mid-air closed, but humming softly like they're dreaming. A sign above the arched entrance reads, "The library of all that was almost forgotten." You step inside. The water no longer presses against you. It feels like air now, thick, gentle, slow. You breathe without thinking, as if your lungs remember something you've never learned. A librarian appears. She is tall and calm, dressed in flowing robes that drift like seaweed. Her eyes shimmer like fish scales in sunlight. She smiles when she sees you. "Welcome," she says. "You're just in time for what you ask, for remembering." She gestures toward the first aisle. This is the hall of things you almost knew. You walk beside her. Each book you pass floats beside your shoulder, flutters open, then closes again, offering glimpses of forgotten dreams, the name of a stuffed animal you once loved the first time you saw snow, the way your grandmother's voice sounded when she whispered your name. You pause in front of a particularly worn book. It opens to a page showing a field of golden grass and a tree that hums. You feel your breath catch. You've never seen this place before, and yet you know it. It's a memory seed, the librarian says softly. You planted it in a dream once. It grew down here. You smile. She leads you on. Next is the hall of what-ifs and maybes. Here the books are half finished, sentences trail off, paintings shift in the corners of your eye. One book shows you in a green cloak, leading a parade of foxes. Another shows you as a baker who makes muffins that whisper stories. These aren't futures, she explains, just possibilities. They live here waiting in case you ever dream them again. You turn a corner into a tall, round chamber. At the center floats a globe made of water with tiny islands spinning inside it like lazy bubbles. The books here don't show pictures. They sing songs you ask. Not quite the librarian says. These are truths you haven't found words for yet. One book floats toward you. When it opens, you don't hear music. You feel it. The memory of being held tightly during the storm. The feeling of saying goodbye and not knowing it was forever. The warmth of forgiving someone even if they never knew. You close your eyes and let it sink into your chest. Later, the librarian leads you to a narrow staircase that spirals downward. This, she says, is the deep vault. Only for those who have listened closely. You descend slowly, each step glowing beneath your feet. At the bottom, the water is still once more. No books float here, just one, resting on a pedestal made of polished shell. It's bound in dark leather and sealed with a ribbon made of moonlight. The librarian nods. It's yours. You reach out and touch it. The ribbon unwinds. The cover opens. And inside, you find a story written in the shape of your soul. Every dream, every fear, every quiet victory, every time you were kind when it would have been easier not to be. It's not a story someone else wrote. It's the one you've been living, even when you forgot it had meaning. You read for a long time. The pages turn themselves gentle as wind. And when you're ready, the book closes. The librarian places her hand on the cover. It will wait here always, she says, in case you ever need to remember again. As you begin to rise back toward the surface, the library slowly fades into mist. Not because it's leaving, but because it has been safely placed inside you now. You wake in your bed with damp hair and lake grass on your pillow. The old woman's cloak is draped over your chair, and beneath your covers, a single pearl, still warm, still glowing, still remembering. Story 33, The Painter Who Colored the Wind, inspired by legends of sky spirits, desert winds, and creative magic. Hey, little dreamer, tonight we're going somewhere magical. The wind has been colorless for as long as anyone can remember. It moves, it sings, it dances, but it leaves no mark. It passes through the grass and trees and towns, whispering through cracks and over rooftops, but never showing its face. Until tonight. Tonight, the wind is looking for you. You're painting in the courtyard long after everyone else has gone to sleep. The stars are out and your brush swirls through blue and gold, making tiny spirals on a piece of sky-colored cloth. That's when you hear it, a soft stirring behind your ear. Not a breeze, a voice. Those are lovely, it whispers. Have you ever thought of painting the sky itself? You turn, but no one is there. Just the trees nodding gently. The wind picks up again, only this time it swirls in front of you, and you see it. A shape made of air and shimmer. It looks like a scarf dancing in a current or a sheet of light rippling with laughter. It is the wind, and it wants your help. I've been invisible for too long, it says. I bring whispers, carry scents, lift leaves, but no one ever sees me. I want to be remembered. You're not afraid. You dip your brush in soft lilac. What color would you like to be? The wind hums, then answers every color you've ever dreamed. So you go with it. The wind lifts you into the sky, and your brush leaves trails behind you, rose pink, honey yellow, twilight blue. The night becomes your canvas. The stars blink in approval. You pass over fields, and the wheat sways through your colors. You pass over rivers, and the ripples dance with streaks of green and gold. And over the sleeping towns, the rooftops glow with a wash of soft silver mist. The wind laughs a kind tinkling sound that tickles your ears. More, it cries, "Color my breath, let the world know I've been here." So you keep painting. You invent new colors, the blue of secrets, the red of first kindness, the white of remembering something soft. Your brush moves without stopping, your heart full and warm. Then the wind grows quiet. It slows. You land gently on a mountaintop where clouds drift lazily like dream ships without sails. "Thank you," the wind says. "But now it is your turn." You tilt your head. "My turn." The wind swirls around you, then shifts, becoming a shape with arms and fingers, a soft silhouette made of moonlit air. "I want to give you a gift," it says, "for showing me how to be seen." A canvas appears, not made of cloth, but of mist. Your name is written in the corner, glowing faintly. "This is your sky," the wind says. Your dream, you raise your brush. But nothing happens. Your colors don't stick. The paint vanishes into air. You frown. Why won't it stay? The wind circles you thoughtfully. Because this painting must be made with feelings. So you try again. You think of your family, and the brush paints a soft glow that spreads across the edges like morning. You think of the sound of rain while curled under blankets, and a silver thread weaves across the bottom. You think of the way your heart feels when someone laughs with you, not at you, and a burst of orange blooms in the middle. Soon the whole canvas shimmers. It shows your favorite memories, not as pictures, but as colors and movement and warmth. When you finish, the wind wraps around the painting and lifts it high. It floats into the stars, and as you watch it, becomes part of the sky, a new cloud that glows faintly with every emotion you poured into it. The wind sighs happily. "Now we both have something to show," it says. But before you can return, the wind swirls one last time. "I must keep moving," it tells you. But if you ever see the leaves blush or the sky turn lavender for no reason, that's me wearing your colors. It brushes your cheek, a goodbye kiss made of sky, and disappears into the air. You drift gently back to the courtyard. Your brush rests beside your hand, and above you, the night sky holds a new shape, a painting just for you, glowing with everything you feel when you're almost asleep. That night, as you snuggle under your blanket, you hear the wind outside. But this time you don't just hear it, you see it. A streak of orange, a shimmer of blue. And in the quiet, a whisper, "Thank you, painter." Story 34, The Sleep Watcher of the Western Dunes. Inspired by desert folklore, guardian spirits, and starlit dreaming. Hey, little dreamer, tonight we're going somewhere magical. The desert is breathing, not loudly, not like wind rushing through trees or waves crashing on rocks, but slow and quiet, like someone sleeping beneath a soft blanket of sand. You walk along a trail of stardust footprints, your sandals barely pressing into the cool golden dunes. Above you, the sky is velvet blue, sprinkled with 1,000 blinking stars. The moon hangs low and full, watching gently. There are no sounds, but the occasional rustle of the wind and the soft hoot of a night owl drifting by overhead. And then you see it, a figure sitting high atop the tallest dune, not moving, not speaking, just watching. As you approach, you notice the dune is shaped not by chance but by care, as if someone smoothed it by hand, keeping it still and soft for sitting. And the figure, dressed in robes made of mist and starlight. Their face is hidden beneath a silver scarf, but their eyes shine softly, kind, deep, knowing. They are the sleep watcher, and they nod as you draw near. You found the quiet, they say, voice like falling sand. Very few do. You sit beside them without speaking. The desert hums. Below, you scattered among the dunes are nests and burrows, hollowed logs and shaded stones, each one cradling a sleeping creature. A fox, curled tight-tail over nose, a fennec with oversized ears twitching gently in dream, a beetle snuggled beneath a dry palm leaf, a family of desert mice breathing in rhythm beneath a bush. The sleep watcher gestures to them all. I watch over the ones who sleep in silence, they say, not because they ask, but because every dream deserves protection. You nod, curling your knees to your chest. They pass you a cup. It's not made of glass or clay. It's shaped from moonlight and filled with a pale blue liquid that smells like lavender and sky. Dream milk, the sleep watcher says. It softens your thoughts. You sip. It's warm but not hot. Sweet but not sugary. It tastes like everything soft, the inside of a kitten's ear, the hum of your mother's voice when she's half asleep, the way a blanket feels after the sun has touched it all afternoon. As you sip, the sleep watcher hums. Not a song, a sound deep and slow that makes the sand below you vibrate softly. The creatures below shift in their sleep. Their dreams grow gentler. You look at the sleep watcher's hands. One holds a fan made of woven feathers and cloud threads. The other, a pouch filled with tiny seeds that glow faintly. What are those, you whisper? They smile. These are dreams yet to bloom. I plant them on the wind. They rise slowly, their robes trailing behind them like shadows. Would you like to help me? You stand nodding. They lead you down the dune. At each sleeping animal they pause, gently tossing a glowing seed into the air. The seed hovers, then dissolves into a sparkle that drifts downward, brushing the forehead, the tail, the whiskers. You follow. At first, you only watch. Then they offer you the pouch. Try. You take a seed. It's warm, like it's been waiting just for you. You toss it gently. It lands on the back of a turtle nestled beneath a cactus. The sparkle melts into its shell. You don't know what dream it's given, but you feel it. A soft, deep dream of water, of wide skies, of slow laughter. You continue seed by seed, animal by animal. By the time you finish, the pouch is empty. The stars have shifted. It is nearly dawn. You and the sleep watcher return to the top of the dune. They sit folding their robes around them like clouds. Their fan now rests across their lap, unmoving. This is my task, they say. Every night I watch. I don't tell the dreams what to be. I just make space for them to bloom. You glance back at the sleeping creatures. They're all safe now, you whisper. The sleep watcher nods, not just because we watch, but because we let them be. Dreams bloom best in peace. They reach into their sleeve and hand you something small, a vial, tiny, glass, filled with a few remaining glowing seeds. For you, they say, in case you ever find someone who can't quite sleep. You close your fingers around it, and when you look back up, they are gone. The dune is empty. But in the distance, where the sun begins to color the sky with shy pinks and oranges, the wind stirs gently. You hear the faintest whisper, "Keep watch, little one," even just for yourself. You wake in your bed with the vial in your palm. It is warm, still glowing, still humming. Outside, a breeze brushes against your window. Not loud, just enough to remind you someone is always watching the quiet, even if it's you. Story 35, The Girl Who Collected Goodbyes, inspired by tales of memory, farewell magic, and the beauty of letting go. Hey, little dreamer, tonight, we're going somewhere magical. You walk through a village made of fading colors. The houses are painted in soft pastels that ripple like old photographs. The windows blink with candlelight. The air is thick with the scent of lavender, rain-damp leaves, and something harder to name, something like memory. You don't know how you got here, but your heart feels calm, as if this place had been waiting quietly for you. At the center of the village stands a small shop. Its sign is carved in crooked letters, "Goodbye, Collection and Memory Repair." You open the door. A bell tinkles, but not with a ding, with a sigh. Inside, the walls are covered in shelves of glass jars. Each one glows faintly, labeled in soft handwriting, "Goodbye to my first pet. Goodbye to the house where I was born. Goodbye to the last day of summer." Behind the counter stands a girl in a deep blue coat. Her hair is tucked into a knitted cap, and a single quill floats gently behind her ear, glowing slightly at the tip. Her hands are moving, not quickly, not slowly, as she sorts tiny pieces of folded paper into jars. She looks up when you enter. "Oh," she says, like a breeze finding a door slightly ajar. "You're not here to drop off, are you? You're here to learn." You blink. Learn what she smiles, kind and calm. How to carry things you've let go of, and how to let go of the things you've carried too long. You walk forward. The jars hum softly as you pass. Some are warm, some chill your fingertips. One jar makes your chest tighten for just a moment before you move away. "These are goodbyes, you ask?" She nods. Each one holds the moment someone said farewell to a place, a person, a version of themselves. I keep them safe. You reach out to a jar labeled "Goodbye to Being Afraid of the Dark." It glows a brave orange. "What happens if I open it?" She shakes her head gently. You don't open someone else's goodbye. You listen to your own. She walks to the back of the shop, beckoning you. In a quiet room behind a curtain of woven starlight, there's a long table. At the center sits a small silver box. "This is yours," she says. You frown. "I didn't bring anything." She lifts the lid. Inside is a folded slip of paper written in your handwriting. It reads, "Goodbye to the version of me who thought they had to do everything alone." You sit down. You didn't write this today, but you remember writing it, not with your hands, with your heart. On a day when everything felt too heavy and you whispered something into the wind just to feel lighter. The girl offers you a jar. It's empty. "This is where it goes," she says softly, "if you're ready." You breathe in, then out. You fold the paper once more and place it gently in the jar. As soon as the lid closes, it begins to glow, not brightly, just enough to let you know it's still there. The weight in your chest lifts. You hadn't even realized it was there. The girl places the jar on a shelf labeled "Growing Pains and Quiet Winds." Then she leads you upstairs. This, she says, is the attic. It's not dusty or dark. It's warm, filled with string lights and wind chimes that tinkle with the sound of remembered laughter. There's a wide table with a stack of blank jars and a notebook that writes by itself. She turns to you. Now you can help. You spend what feels like hours or maybe just minutes placing new memories into jars. Some are not yours. Some are. All of them shimmer when you hold them. You jar. The first time you forgave someone without hearing, "I'm sorry." The last day you believed in something that turned out not to be true. A goodbye you never got to say. Each one fills a jar. Each one takes up space, but gently. You learn how to label things without judgment. You learn that letting go isn't the same as forgetting. And you learn that some things never really leave, they just find softer places to stay. When you finally head toward the door, the girl stops you. She places something into your hands. It's a tiny jar, no bigger than a marble with no label. Inside is the faintest swirl of light. "What is it?" you ask. She smiles. "That one's for the goodbye you don't know you're ready for yet." You tuck it into your pocket. Back in your own bed, you wake with your hand still curled around something small. You open your palm. There it is, the tiny jar, glowing gently. Still waiting, still patient, just like you. Story 36, The House That Hummed, inspired by magical realism, quiet memory, and hidden music. Hey, little dreamer. Tonight, we're going somewhere magical. At the end of a sleepy road behind a crooked fence and under a sky full of yawning clouds, there is a house that hums. You've passed by it before, maybe on your way to the park, maybe in a dream, maybe while holding someone's hand. It never looks special, just a house with peeling paint and shutters that blink slowly in the breeze. But if you pause just for a moment, you might have heard it. A hum, not a tune, not a song, just a note low and steady, like the house was thinking or remembering something soft. Tonight, you go alone, not because you're lonely, but because the hum has gotten louder. Not frightening, just curious. You stand before the gate. The wind stirs. The sky flickers with starlight, and the hum calls your name. The gate creaks open, even though you don't touch it. The path is lined with forget-me-nots and moss that glows faintly with every step. You walk up the porch steps, and before you knock, the door opens with a long sigh. Inside it's warm, not dusty, not broken, just old in a comfortable way, like a sweater that's been worn through many winters. The floors creak, but kindly. The air smells like cedar wood and something sweet, maybe honey, maybe apples. And all around you the hum. You can't tell where it comes from. The walls, the floor, the windows. It's everywhere and nowhere, weaving through the air like invisible thread. You step further in. A hallway stretches ahead. Every door you pass is closed, each one carved with patterns, waves, stars, feathers, leaves. You choose the one with the feather. Inside is a room filled with cushions, books, and wind chimes that sway though no breeze touches them. In the corner is an old rocking chair gently rocking itself. You sit. The hum grows clearer. It's not just one note anymore. It's chords now, deep and light, like the house is singing without words. A small voice speaks behind you. Can you hear it? You turn. A boy sits cross-legged on the windowsill. He's maybe your age, maybe older, maybe not really a boy at all. His eyes are full of sunlight. You nod. Yes. He smiles. Not everyone can. Who are you, you ask? I'm part of the house. Or maybe the house is part of me. It doesn't matter. He stands barefoot and offers you his hand. Want to know where the hum comes from? You take it. Together, you walk through the halls. Each door you open leads to a memory. In one room, two people dance slowly, even though there's no music, just laughter and a ticking clock. In another, someone cries into a pillow while a cat curls beside them, purring softly. Another room is filled with light, a child building a tower from wooden blocks, humming a song you somehow know, even though you've never heard it before. These are echoes, the boy explains, pieces of people who loved this house. Every sound, every tear, every laugh, the house remembers. You keep walking through a sunroom with vines pressed to the glass like old hands, through a kitchen where a pot simmers all by itself, releasing the scent of soup and stories, through a narrow stairwell lit by fireflies caught in jars. Finally, you reach a small round room at the very top of the house. It has no furniture, just a piano. The boy gestures toward it. Try. You sit. The keys are warm. When you press one, the hum answers. You play another. The house shudders not from fear, but recognition, as if you've spoken its secret name. You play gently, not a song you know, but one that feels like walking home in the rain, or the way a hug lingers even after it ends. The boy hums along, and then a note you play unlocks something. The humming stops. Silence falls, but not an empty silence, a full one, the kind that makes room. The house exhales. A panel in the wall opens, behind it a journal, old, bound in soft leather. You open it. The first page reads, "To the one who heard us." Inside are sketches of every room you visited, notes, names, goodbyes, thanks, wishes. It is the memory of the house written by every person who lived, loved, or dreamed here. And now it's yours. You hold it to your chest. The boy smiles. Now you can hum too. Back in your bed, the house is gone, but the journal rests beside your pillow, and when the night grows still, you hum softly. One note, then two, not for anyone else, just for you, and for whatever dreams are listening. Story 37. The windmill that counted stars, inspired by Dutch and Central European folklore and the quiet power of wonder. Hey, little dreamer, tonight we're going somewhere magical. On the edge of a sleepy village where the fields roll like soft waves and the sky stretches wider than your thoughts, there is a windmill that never turns during the day. It stands tall and quiet, with blades made of old wood and silver wire. The villagers say it's broken. A relic, they call it. Pretty to look at, but nothing more. But they don't know what you know. They don't see it at night. Because when the world sleeps and the wind hushes its breath, the windmill wakes. It begins with a single creak, then a soft groan like a yawn stretched across the sky. And finally, the blades turn. Not quickly, not loudly, but with rhythm, purpose, grace. You discovered it by accident. One night, walking home late after watching fireflies near the orchard, you looked up, and there it was, turning, glowing faintly, and counting. Yes, counting. Each time a blade turned, a tiny light blinked in the sky above it, a star. You stood beneath it for hours watching. Now you go there often. Tonight, you sit at the base of the windmill with a blanket and a warm biscuit in your pocket. The moon is high. The wind is calm, and then the blades begin to move. You smile. A voice hums behind you. You're back. You turn. A girl sits atop a low stone wall, legs swinging. She's barefoot, dressed in overalls and a sweater stitched with tiny constellations. Her eyes reflect the sky. You've seen her before, here and there, never during the day. She drops down beside you, You know it counts them right. You nod. Stars. She grins and wishes. You blink. Wishes. Every time someone wishes on a star, she says, the windmill hears it, turns once, marks it in the sky. You look up. The stars are blinking in strange patterns, not random, but rhythmic. Why? So no wish gets lost, she whispers. So even if no one remembers, the windmill does. She stands and walks to the base, placing her hand on the old wood. It doesn't grant them, she says. It just listens, counts, keeps them safe. You follow her inside. The door creaks open, revealing a spiral staircase lit by tiny orbs that float like bubbles. Each step glows faintly as you climb. At the top is a round room with wide window shelves filled with glass jars and one large wheel in the center turning slowly. Each time it clicks, a star outside blinks. The girl points to the jars. These are old wishes. You approach one labeled, "Wish for someone to remember my name." Inside is a feather, soft, white, floating endlessly in a swirl of starlight. Another reads, "Wish to return home even just once." Inside is a pressed flower, dried but still fragrant. You reach a jar that has no label. It holds a pebble, smooth and warm to the touch. That one, she says softly, is for a wish that was never spoken, only felt. You sit down. The windmill hums. The room breathes. The girl hands you a blank jar. Do you have a wish? You nod. You don't speak it out loud, but you think it clearly. You hold it gently in your hands, this quiet, aching hope. And as you do, the jar begins to glow. Inside a shape appears not quite solid, not quite light. Something only your wish could create. You place it on the shelf. The girl nods. It will be counted. You stay in the windmill until the sky begins to pale. The stars blink slower, the wheel slows, the wind hushes. The girl walks you down the stairs. At the bottom, she pauses. One day, she says you may become a counter too if you keep listening. She places a tiny pebble in your palm. Not a wish, she adds, just a reminder. You wake in your bed with the pebble still in your hand. It hums faintly when you close your eyes. And outside your window, a single star blinks slowly, still counting, still listening. Story 38, The Owl Who Collected Night, inspired by global owl legends and the quiet magic of nighttime. Hey, little dreamer, tonight we're going somewhere magical. The sun has just dipped behind the hills, leaving the world painted in soft purples and silvery shadows. You're not quite ready for bed. Not because you're not tired, you are, but because something outside feels like it's calling you. Not loudly, just invitingly. You slip outside in your slippers and your softest sweater. The sky is deepening and the wind smells like cool earth and lavender. You walk toward the woods, the edge of them, where the trees grow tall and thin and the branches reach out like sleepy fingers. That's when you see the feathers. They fall gently around you, not like leaves, but like forgotten wishes, drifting home. One lands on your palm. It's soft and dark, with flecks of silver like starlight woven into velvet. And then you hear the sound. Woom, woom, woom. Not quite a hoot, not quite a drum. Something in between. You follow it. Just past the third elm tree, there's a clearing. At the center is a wide tree older than stories, older than time. Perched on one of its thickest branches is an owl, but not just any owl. This one wears a cloak of shadows. Its eyes shine like twin moons. And around its neck is a satchel made of woven sky. It watches you, tilts its head, and speaks not with its beak, but directly into your heart. You're just in time for what you ask, not afraid, to help me collect the night. It spreads its wings and glides down beside you, silent as breath. Each evening it says, I gather pieces of the night before it fades, not to keep, but to remember. Why you whisper? Because someone must, the owl replies. Day is loud, day is bright, but night holds the quiet things people forget to notice. It opens its satchel. Inside are glimmers, glows, wisps of breeze, the hush of moth wings, the ripple of moonlight on still water. Tonight, you may help. You take a glowing jar the owl offers and follow it through the forest. Your first collection is easy. You catch the scent of pine needles cooling in moonlight. It swirls into the jar like a ribbon. Then the song of a cricket choir, layered and low, delicate like glass tapping against glass. Next, you gather the reflection of the moon in a puddle, not the water, just the shimmer, and seal it gently into your jar. You and the owl continue. Each step reveals something new, a spiderweb strung with dew catching the stars, a feather drifting through silence, a soft, far-off train horn that sounds like a sigh. You don't rush. Night never does. Eventually, the owl brings you to a low hill that overlooks the town. Look, it says, and you do. You see windows glowing with bedtime stories, shadows dancing on curtains, a dog curling at someone's feet. The owl nods. These are the endings of the day. They are part of the night, too. You open your jar one last time. This time, you collect. The yawn of a child climbing into bed, the click of a lamp turning off, a final whispered goodnight. The jar glows warmly now, not brightly, but deeply. The owl takes it in its talon and places it carefully into the satchel. You've done well, it says. Would you like to see where I take them? You nod. The owl lifts you, not with its wings, but with its words, and suddenly you are flying. The air is soft around you. Below, the world sleeps. Mountains hum. Rivers rest. Stars listen. The owl brings you to a place above the clouds, a nest, but not made of twigs or leaves, made of sky thread, moonstone, and woven stories. There, resting gently in a cradle of light, are hundreds of jars, each labeled in a looping script, the night wind on the first day of autumn, the whisper of a cat in a window, a dream that slipped through the cracks. You place your jar among them, and the whole nest hums, not a song, not a sound, a feeling soft, complete, like the last page of your favorite book. The owl returns you to the clearing. The feathers begin to fall again, not many, just a few. A thank you, a good night. It bows. Remember, it says, daylight may bring answers, but night holds the questions worth keeping. Then it lifts into the sky and vanishes into the stars. You wake in your bed, but in your hand there's a single silver speckled feather, still warm, still humming, and outside your window the night lingers just a little longer, just for you. Story 39, The Bridge of Painted Echoes, inspired by myths of memory, lost places, and dream bridges. Hey, little dreamer, tonight we're going somewhere magical. There is a bridge that doesn't appear on any map. It doesn't stretch across a river or hang above a canyon. It lives somewhere quieter between one forgotten place and another. It only appears when someone whispers, I wish I could remember. Tonight it appears for you. You don't know why, not yet, but you feel it deep in your chest, a tug soft and certain like a thread pulling gently at your heart. You follow it through the tall grass behind your home, past the grove where the fireflies gather, beyond the last oak tree with its crooked spine. And there it is, the bridge. It's not made of stone or wood, it's made of color. Painted planks hover over nothing, not air, not water, just a shimmering space filled with echoes. Each plank glows with brushstrokes, swirls of gold and blush and stormy blue. When you step onto the bridge, it hums beneath your feet like someone tuning a harp with their eyes closed. You take a step, then another. The sky shifts around you. There is no sun, no moon, just painted light as if someone turned a canvas into the air. Then you hear it, a voice, familiar but far away, calling your name not urgently, just with hope. You follow the sound. As you walk each plank, you step on flashes of memory, a swing creaking in the wind, the smell of a cake you haven't tasted in years, the sound of a laugh that used to live in your home, a voice reading to you in the dark words, soft as feathers. You pause. This is. You begin. A remembering place, says someone behind you. You turn. An old woman stands there, or maybe a young one, with very wise eyes. Her robe is patched with bits of cloth that ripple like pages from a storybook. She carries a paintbrush instead of a walking stick. This bridge was made by memories, she says, ones that were painted forgotten or never spoken aloud. Yours added a plank tonight. Mine, you whisper. She nods. When you wish to remember, even if you didn't say it out loud. She beckons. You walk together. Around you, the bridge shifts, becoming halls, tunnels, towers made of pigment and echo. Shapes float past, lanterns shaped like moments, doorways made of sighs. The woman pauses before a gate painted onto thin air. Here's one, she says, one you almost lost. The gate opens. Inside is a garden, but not just any garden, your garden, from long ago, or maybe not so long. The lavender bush you once buried a note beneath, the wind chime made from keys and bottle caps, the stump where you first learned to listen instead of talk, and someone sits on the bench, not looking at you, just humming. You step forward, and the echo of them turns. They don't speak. They don't have to. They smile. You sit beside them. For a while, neither of you says anything. But something inside you, a tight knot you didn't know was there, begins to loosen. When you look again, the bench is empty. The garden fades. The gate closes. Some memories aren't meant to be kept, the woman says gently. Just visited, like old friends. You walk on, past scenes both strange and soft. A room full of songs never sung. A stairway that climbs into yesterday. A tree with every name you've ever been called carved gently into its bark. The bridge narrows. You reach the final arch. Beyond it is your home. You can see a room, the nightlight, the quiet. But before you step off the bridge, the woman offers you her paintbrush. Here, she says, one more stroke. You dip the brush into the air where it finds color on its own, and you paint a memory. Not a perfect one, just real. You, sitting in the dark, wishing for something soft to hold on to. You sign it with your breath. The brush vanishes. The woman nods. You'll find this place again, when you're ready, or when it calls you. She turns, disappearing down the bridge behind you, and you step off. You wake in your bed, but something rests on your pillow. A paint chip, no bigger than a coin covered in brushstrokes you know, came from your own hand. Still glowing, still remembering. Story 40, The Memory Bell of Wintervale, inspired by snowbound village legends and the quiet magic of sound and remembrance. Hey, little dreamer, tonight we're going somewhere magical. The snow has fallen gently all day. It blanketed the rooftops, curled around tree trunks, and tucked the whole village into a soft white hush. Now, with the moon climbing slowly over the mountains, Wintervale sleeps. All except for you. You're wrapped in your thickest blanket, standing at the window, watching the stars blink behind drifting flakes. The world is silver and still, but there's something in the air tonight. Shimmer, sound, a single bell, faint, distant. You've never heard a bell in Wintervale. There's no church tower, no clock tower, no reason for one. And yet, there it is. Ding, soft, melancholy, beautiful. You slip on your boots, grab your scarf, and tiptoe out the door. The snow crunches quietly beneath your feet. The houses are asleep, windows glowing with the last warmth of firelight. Even the wind is soft, like someone exhaling slowly in their sleep. You follow the sound. Ding. It's not loud, but it's steady. Past the bakery, past the stone bridge, past the frozen pond where lanterns sometimes drift. And then there it is. At the edge of the forest stands a small stone arch. You've never noticed it before. Beneath it hangs a bell, not made of metal, made of frost. Its shape is perfect, smooth, and shimmering like it was carved from the first breath of winter. It swings without being touched, and when it rings, it stirs something deep in your chest. Someone stands beside it. They are tall, wrapped in a cloak of snow moss and pine bark, their breath misting gently in the air. Their eyes are kind of old and young at the same time. They nod to you. You heard it. You nod back. It calls only those who remember. Remember what you ask. The figure gestures to the bell, not what they forgot, but what they buried. You look up at the bell again. It sways even without wind. You realize it's not just sound, it's memory. Each ring, a feeling, a moment, a name. The figure steps aside and points to a trail that winds into the trees. Would you like to follow where the bell keeps its echoes? You nod again. Together, you walk through the forest. The snow here glows faintly, lit from beneath by soft pulses of light. Each time the bell rings behind you, a memory unfolds in the snow. A mitten dropped and found again. A snow angel, someone made for a friend who moved away. A quiet hand held during a thunderstorm years ago. A firelight dance in a cabin that's no longer there. You pause to watch them. They don't last long, just flickers, whispers of warmth beneath the cold. Who made the bell, you ask? The figure smiles. It made itself. Each winter, from every goodbye never spoken, from every kindness that melted too soon. The trail ends at a clearing. In the center is a circle of stone chairs. Some are empty, some hold shapes. People, shadows, spirits, sitting in silence, eyes closed, listening. They come to remember, the figure says, and to be remembered. You sit in one of the empty chairs. And the bell rings again. This time, the sound surrounds you, and you see it, not with your eyes, with your heart. A moment, you younger, laughing, snow on your eyelashes, someone older lifting you up, spinning you once, then setting you down, their hands warm, their voice calling you by a name you haven't heard in years. You breathe out slowly, another ring. You see someone else, not someone you know. A girl kneeling to tie a boy's boot. He's crying, but quietly. She hums a lullaby, and he leans into her shoulder. Another ring. A lantern, lit on a windowsill by hands that trembled but never dropped the match. Tears, soft and simple, well in your eyes, but not from sadness, from returning. The bell chimes again. The figure places a hand on your shoulder. It never keeps what it shows, they say, only lends it back. You nod. That's enough. You rise. The other shapes in the clearing rise too, fading gently into mist as they go. The figure leads you back through the glowing snow, back toward the arch where the bell still swings. But now, it slows. The wind stills. The memory hushes. You're back at the edge of Wintervale. Before you go, the figure gives you a pouch. Inside is a tiny silver chime, not a bell, not quite, but a shard of the sound itself. For the nights when you can't remember what you miss, they say. You thank them, then turn and walk home. You wake in your bed. Snow still falls outside your window, and in your palm, warm despite the chill, rests the tiny silver chime. When you hold it to your ear, it doesn't ring, but it feels like someone whispering, I'm still here, just beyond the quiet. Story 41, the book that turned into a tree, inspired by tales of living knowledge, forest spirits, and quiet transformation. Hey, little dreamer, tonight we're going somewhere magical. You've always loved the old library. It smells like soft paper and pine wood. The windows rattle when the wind hums through the hills, and the floorboards creak in a kind, familiar way. You don't always find what you're looking for, but somehow you always find what you need. Tonight, you visit just before closing. The librarian nods at you, half asleep behind the desk. You head to the far corner where the quiet books live, the ones no one checks out, but no one forgets either. And that's where you find it. A book with no title. Its cover is rough, like bark. Its spine hums faintly when you touch it. You carry it to your favorite chair and open it carefully. But instead of pages, there are leaves, real leaves, soft and thin in every color, some green, some gold, some silver, blue. Each one has veins shaped like words, and when you run your fingers over them, you hear stories, not told aloud, told through feeling. The first leaf sings of a girl who planted stars into the ground and grew dreams. The second leaf tells of a boy who carved music from stone and silence. The third leaf feels like home, a memory you didn't know you had of laughter under a tree that hummed. You reach for the fourth leaf, and the room shifts. The library fades. The shelves stretch into trees. The air thickens with mist and bird song. You are in a forest, but not one you've walked before. This one is reading you. You still hold the book. Its pages flutter as if caught in an invisible breeze. Then a voice speaks from behind you. You open the book of becoming. You turn. An old woman stands there, her dress stitched from moss and parchment. Her eyes are green with flecks of ink. A quill floats beside her shoulder like a tiny bird. What's the book of becoming, you ask? She gestures to the forest. It's not a book, she says. It's a seed. She walks with you through the trees. Every trunk you pass is carved with soft symbols, names, hopes, short sentences that shimmer and fade. They were once pages, she says. Stories someone lived, then let go of. Now they grow. You run your fingers along one trunk. It feels like paper and bark all at once. You see your own reflection there for just a moment. You're not here by accident, she continues. The book chose you. You pause. Why, she smiles. Because you're changing, like all stories do. You walk deeper into the forest. you pass. A tree that hums lullabies written in forgotten languages. A vine that grows poems instead of leaves. A clearing where letters fall from the sky like petals. At the center of it all is a single tree taller than the rest. Its bark is deep blue. Its leaves shimmer gold. And at its roots lies an open book, yours. It's growing. Right there before your eyes, the leaves are turning into tiny branches. The spine twists into a trunk. The cover splits, revealing roots. You step forward. The old woman offers you a pen made of wind and memory. Write one sentence, she says, one truth. You think carefully. Not the biggest thing, not the most perfect, just something real. And you write, I am still becoming even when I feel finished. The tree hums. It lifts from the ground gently, its roots untangling from the soil without tearing, stretching like toes after sleep. It plants itself beside the tall blue tree and grows, slowly, kindly, becoming part of the forest. The old woman places her hand on your shoulder. You'll come back one day, she says, not as a visitor, but as a gardener. The forest fades. The library returns. You sit in your chair, the book now closed on your lap, but warm and pulsing softly, like a heart that's just learned a new rhythm. You return home with leaves in your pocket, and when you wake in the morning, there's a tiny seed on your windowsill, still glowing, still waiting, still becoming. Story 42, The Sleepmakers of Fern Hollow. Inspired by forest folklore, dream crafting, and the gentle magic of woodland caretakers. Hey, little dreamer, tonight we're going somewhere magical. The path to Fern Hollow only appears when the stars are just beginning to blink awake and the trees whisper in the hush between sunset and night. You find it not because you were searching, but because your heart was ready. It winds beneath fern canopies and mossy branches soft beneath your feet like cloud stuff. The night here doesn't feel dark. It feels full. And at the end of the path, nestled in the roots of an old willow tree, you find it. A wooden door, round and green, with a brass knocker shaped like a snail shell. You knock once. The door swings open. A voice calls from within. Come and sleep, a soul. You're right on time. You duck inside. The room glows with golden light. Lanterns hang from the ceiling like floating dandelions. A kettle hums on the stove. Books are stacked in cozy corners. Blankets, hundreds of them, folded and stacked neatly like dreams not yet dreamt. A tall woman in a tunic of stitched leaves turns from a bubbling pot. She smiles. We wondered when you'd arrive. You're not the only one here. 3 others sit by the fire, one knitting a pillow from moonlight thread, another grinding something that sparkles like crushed feathers, and the third gently humming into a teacup. We are the sleep makers, the woman explains, caretakers of dreams, tailors of stillness, crafters of calm. She pours you a cup of tea that smells like cinnamon and quiet. We make sleep, she continues, for the forest, for creatures, for hearts that can't seem to settle, and tonight, she adds, you may help. You sit with them by the fire. Your task is simple to listen. The sleep makers begin their nightly work. The one with the moonlight thread hands you a spool. Wind it gently, she says. Each strand holds a sigh. You wind carefully. The humming woman dips quills into ink that glows and writes dream invitations on soft paper leaves. You help fold them, placing each into tiny envelopes made of bark and velvet. What are they for? You ask. They find the restless, she replies, even those who don't know they need rest. Later, You follow them out into the forest. Each step you take is softer than the last. The trees lean in. The air smells like mint and memory. You visit a fox's den and tuck a sleep leaf beneath its paw. You hang a dream thread blanket across a hummingbird nest. You leave a scoop of stardust sugar at the edge of a rabbit's burrow. Each offering hums when it's placed. The forest begins to breathe slower. Even the leaves seem to yawn. You walk deeper into the hollow. At its center, you find a creature curled beneath a fern, a great bear, larger than any you've seen. Its eyes flutter, but don't close. The sleepmakers stand quietly. She's the last one tonight, the leader says, but she hasn't rested in years. You step forward. You don't speak. Instead, you hum, not a song, just the way your heart feels when it's safe. The bear's ears twitch. She sighs. You lay a hand against her fur. It's warm. It smells like honey and thyme. And slowly, she breathes deeper. Her eyes close, and the forest stills completely. The sleepmakers nod. That was well done. You walk back together. The door in the willow opens once more. The tall woman hands you a small pouch. Inside are three things: a sprig of fern that glows softly, a leaf with your name written in thread, a tiny bell that rings only when you've forgotten how to rest. These are yours, she says, to remind you stillness is not the same as silence, and sleep is not the end of the day. It's the softest beginning. You wake in your bed feeling lighter than you have in a long while. The pouch rests beside your pillow. And when you close your eyes again, you can almost hear the forest humming, still making sleep just for you. Story 43, The Candle That Remembered the Sun, inspired by myths of light memory and quiet resilience. Hey, little dreamer, tonight we're going somewhere magical. The storm has passed, not loudly. It didn't roar or rage. It arrived with a hush, a long, slow breath that dimmed the sky, covered the stars, and left the world feeling a little heavier. Now everything is still, and the power is out. You sit wrapped in a blanket by the window, watching the rain slide down the glass like sleepy thoughts. The world outside is gray-blue quiet. And then you remember the candle. It lives in the drawer beneath the sink, wrapped in an old tea towel. You found it once by accident, smooth, golden card with tiny sun symbols. It smelled like warm air and dried oranges. You weren't allowed to light it then. But now tonight feels like the right time. You fetch it, place it on the windowsill, and strike a match. The flame takes gently, not with a spark, but with a sigh. And the room glows, but not just with light. With memory, the warmth spreads beyond the flame. You feel it on your skin, behind your eyes, deep in your chest. You blink, and for just a second, you see something. Not the room, a desert, a sky of gold, and a sun that sings. Then it's gone. A voice speaks beside you. You lit it. You turn. A figure sits in the armchair across from you, wrapped in a robe stitched with sunrise. Their hair is made of flickering threads. Their eyes are firelight. They smile. I've been waiting. You don't ask how they got in. Somehow, you know they've always been near, curled in the quiet, resting in the wick. The candle that remembers the sun, they say. That's what I am. That's what you hold. You glance at the flame. It flickers once, and the wall behind it glows with an image, a child dancing in a field of sunflowers. Another flicker, a grandparent pouring tea with golden afternoon light on their hands. Another, a window open to a breeze, curtains floating like clouds. These are not your memories, the figure says. They are pieces of warmth left behind. The candle gathers them, keeps them safe. When the sky forgets how to shine, you sit quietly. The storm has passed, but your heart still holds its shadows. The candle glows brighter. I want to remember, you say softly. The figure nods, then follow. They stand, and the room stretches into something new, not walls but sky, not carpet but clouds that feel like woven sunlight. You follow them. The candle floats beside you. You visit a bakery filled with morning cinnamon chatter and light dancing on flour-dusted shelves. A classroom where someone finally understood something and smiled like a sunrise. A rooftop where two people shared silence and let the stars breathe between them. These are sun moments, the guide says, not because they happened under the sun, but because they made someone feel lit from within. They lead you to a mirror made of golden smoke. It shows you, not now, not today, but a version of you laughing fully, freely. It shows you comforting someone else even when you were tired. It shows you standing alone, but not lonely. I don't remember these, you whisper. You don't have to. They reply. The candle does, and it will return them when you need them most. You walk back together. The room returns. The candle sits quietly on the windowsill, flame low but steady. You pick it up, and it's warm, not hot. It pulses like a heartbeat. Will it burn out, you ask? The guide smiles. No, not really. When it fades, it simply becomes memory. Light never disappears. It just waits. They walk to the door. Before they leave, they place a tiny matchbox in your palm. Inside is one match. The head glows faintly like it remembers something too. For a night when even the stars feel too far away, and then they're gone. You wake in your bed, the candle beside you. The power is still out, but the light remains, and so does the warmth. And so do you, still glowing, still remembering. Story 44, The Forest Beneath the Floorboards. Inspired by hidden world folklore, small magic, and quiet discovery. Hey, little dreamer, tonight, we're going somewhere magical. There's a creak in the hallway that only you seem to notice. It's not loud, just a soft, hollow sigh that happens every time you step on the third board near your bedroom door. Grown-ups say it's the wood settling or the house stretching its bones. But you know better. You've heard whispers, not words, not voices, just whispers. The kind that tickle the edges of dreams and disappear when the light turns on. Tonight, something's different. The air feels full, like it's holding its breath. The creak is louder. You kneel beside the board and press your ear to it. Rustle, tap, whisper. You tap back. A pause, then tap, tap, tap. You smile and begin to pull. The board lifts more easily than you expect. Beneath it is a space not dusty or dark, but glowing faintly like lantern-lit mist. You see steps, not made of wood, made of roots, twisting gently downward into the quiet. You climb. The scent of pine soil and something sweet like cinnamon and moss curls around you as you descend. The space widens, and suddenly you're in a forest beneath your home, but not a normal forest. The trees are small, no taller than you, but their trunks glow with soft light, and their leaves chime faintly when they brush together. Tiny creatures scurry through the roots, mouse-sized people with cloaks made of petals, hats, shaped from acorns, boots stitched from moth wings. They pause when they see you, then they cheer. She's here, one squeaks. The listener, a small creature with bark brown eyes and a satchel of glowing seeds, approaches you. You opened the floorboard, he says, bowing slightly. That means you're the new watcher, the what you asked. He grins. Come see. You follow him through the trees. They called the place Rootwood. It lives beneath houses that hold quiet hearts, and it grows from forgotten laughter daydreams that slip through cracks and the soft weight of feet pacing before sleep. At the center is a clearing with a tall stump, flat and wide. The creature who introduces himself as Tillo hops onto it. This is the listening post, he says. Each night we collect the dreams that drift downward. The floorboards hear everything you know. He opens a small glass jar. From it floats a thread of music, a child's humming, yours. From a week ago, maybe more. You'd forgotten you ever hummed that tune, but Rootwood didn't. Tillo waves a wand carved from a spoon handle. The tune becomes a glowing vine wrapping gently around a tree. Now it's part of the forest, he says. You help them gather more. A giggle from a nap that turned into a dream. The soft thud of a book falling closed. A whispered, I love you before the door shut. Each becomes part of Rootwood. The roots grow. The trees brighten. The air thickens with comfort. At the edge of the forest is a pool of water so still it reflects not just your face but your favorite memory from today. Yours shows a moment of stillness, sipping warm cocoa, listening to the rain. Tillo nods. Even the smallest piece is powerful. Before you leave, they show you the Tree of Echoes. It holds the oldest sounds, lullabies from your first night home, the creak of the rocking chair, the click of a nightlight. Rootwood remembers everything Tillo says, but only what's soft enough to sink. They give you a seed wrapped in velvet. When you need to feel grounded, Tillo says, place this under your pillow. It'll bring the forest close. You climb back up the root stairs slowly, replace the floorboard. But you notice it no longer creaks. It hums a low, leafy sound, like the forest is sleeping beneath you, waiting, listening. That night your dreams are filled with glowing leaves, laughter in jars, and the quiet sound of floorboards whispering back. And beneath your pillow, a soft seed, warm, alive, and still humming. Story 45. The Whisper Market at the End of the Lane, inspired by secret worlds, twilight markets, and the quiet magic of spoken hopes. Hey, little dreamer, tonight we're going somewhere magical. You've walked to the end of the lane before, past the leaning mailbox, past the fence with the missing slat, past the old tree that blooms too early in spring. But tonight, there's something new, a sign, painted on worn wood hanging from a crooked post. It reads, Whisper Market open for moonlight business. You blink. You've never seen a market here, yet beyond the sign, the path twists in a way it never has before. You follow. The air changes, grows sweeter, softer, wrapped in jasmine, and something fizzy, like stars melting in your mouth. The sky above is dark, but filled with quiet twinkles. Not stars exactly, more like little drifting embers of stories. And then there it is, the Whisper Market. 100 tiny stalls line a circular clearing lit by lanterns that float like sleepy fireflies. There's no shouting, no clanging, just the hum of soft music, the rustle of pages, and the murmur of dreams being traded like marbles. You step inside. A small bell tinkles overhead, not as a warning, just a welcome. A vendor with hair like tangled ribbon calls gently from a stall labeled "Worries Exchanged for Feathers." She smiles. Anything heavy on your mind? You hand her a thought, a quiet one that's been sitting in your chest all week. She wraps it in a leaf, drops it into a glass jar, and hands you a feather that glows soft pink. "It'll help you breathe easier tonight," she says. You tuck it into your pocket. Next, you visit a stall where a frog in a velvet waistcoat sells jars of silence. For when your head gets too loud, he croaks. You purchase one in exchange for the memory of a time you didn't know what to say, and he nods kindly. Further down, a pair of foxes operate a stall filled with lost things. "I lost my train of thought," you say. The older fox nods. Red striped soft edges, you blink. Yes, he hands it over in a tiny box made of felt. It hums when you hold it. But the heart of the market is a circular booth wrapped in silver cloth. It's quietest there. The sign reads, "Whispers to Keep." You approach. The vendor is an owl with spectacles and a voice like turning pages. "Have something you need to hear again?" he asks. You nod. He places a shell-shaped speaker in your palm. "Whisper it," he says. "Then I'll keep it safe." You whisper something simple. "I am enough, even on quiet days." The shell glows, then fades to soft amber. He ties it to a string and slips it around your neck. It'll echo when you need it most. You walk the market slowly, letting the stalls blur into warmth and hush. You pass a stall selling stardust chalk for drawing invisible doors. A booth where moths sew thoughts into pocket-sized blankets. A corner where a hedgehog reads bedtime stories backwards to help people forget bad dreams. And everywhere are whispers, floating, drifting, catching gently in the lantern light. Before you go, a small girl tugs at your sleeve. Want to leave a whisper behind. She holds out a paper star. You take it. Right. The world is softer when I listen. She smiles, adds it to a wall filled with glowing stars. One day, she says someone will find yours, and it'll be just what they need. The path back is lined with hushes and heartbeats. The sign at the end now reads, "Closed for dream time." Reopens when wonder calls. You wake in your bed. The feather rests on your pillow. The whisper shell hums against your chest. And in the distance, if you listen closely, you can almost hear the market setting up again, waiting for night and for you.